Our observable universe is home to 200 million galaxies, with each one housing hundreds of millions of stars. Each star, in turn, has a collection of planets revolving around it. Beyond this, there are nebulae and other entities that remain unseen or unknown due to our limited capabilities. This leads us to ponder, are we solitary in this vast cosmos? In reality, we don't have a definitive answer to this question yet. However, it's evident that mankind has made numerous attempts, some bizarre, some amusing, and some frightening. Hello everyone, I am Ahmed Mahmoud, and in this episode, we will talk about the strangest attempts to communicate with aliens. But before we start, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so that our videos reach you first. Yes, from the red button below. Humans, being inherently inquisitive, are ceaselessly posing questions. The enormity of the cosmos and the fascination of our ancestors with astronomy have been pivotal in prompting mankind to seek out extraterrestrial life on planets beyond Earth. Surprisingly, these endeavors to discover alien life forms commenced over 2 millennia ago. It is conjectured that the ancient Greeks were the pioneers in debating the possibility of life on other planets. However, these early discussions were more akin to folklore and narratives than scientific discourse, primarily due to the limited scientific tools and knowledge available at the time. A significant number of venerable scholars, including the likes of Kepler and Galileo, held beliefs in the existence of extraterrestrials. In the early 19th century, German mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss spearheaded one of the first attempts to establish communication with potential extraterrestrial beings. Gauss initially contemplated the location for dispatching the message and concluded that the moon, being our nearest celestial neighbor, was the most feasible option. The subsequent step involved determining the content of the message, which needed to be straightforward and comprehensible to the moon's potential inhabitants. Gauss's deliberations led him to the idea of transmitting visual signals to extraterrestrials. Initially, Gauss opted to employ the heliotrope, a device he had originally invented for land surveying. This apparatus, equipped with a series of strategically positioned mirrors, was designed to reflect sunlight intensely enough to be visible from great miles. Gauss intended to direct the heliotrope towards the moon in an effort to capture the attention of potential alien observers. Subsequently, Gauss conceived the idea of creating enormous geometric patterns such as squares and triangles, which he saw that geometric shapes like squares and triangles could not exist by chance for the lunar inhabitants to observe. Gauss embarked on implementing his idea by clearing large sections of the Siberian forests to create meticulously arranged geometric shapes. Despite his efforts, Gauss was not the sole individual attempting to communicate with extraterrestrials using geometric patterns. In 1840, scientist Joseph von Littrow chose to implement a concept similar to that of Gauss, albeit with a slight variation. Littrow aimed to create geometric patterns on Earth that would be distinctly visible to beings on other planets, such as Mars. He reasoned that the Sun, being the primary light source in our solar system and essentially a ball of fire, could be used to highlight these patterns. Littrow planned to carve trenches, shaped into geometric figures, large enough to be visible from other planets. He determined that these trenches should be approximately 32 kilometers wide. Once these trenches were dug, they would be filled with water, followed by the addition of kerosene. Upon igniting the floating kerosene, the resulting fire would illuminate the geometric patterns, making them far more discernible than Gauss's creations, particularly in the dark. The peculiar aspect of the endeavors by Littrow and Gauss is that they initially postulated the existence of life on other planets. Furthermore, they conjectured that such life forms would be as advanced as, if not more than, life on Earth, possessing sophisticated equipment, enabling them to observe space. They also hypothesized that these extraterrestrial life forms would resemble those found on Earth, implying that these space dwellers would have eyes to perceive the message and advanced intellects to comprehend the visual signals we created. Visual messages remained our sole means of attempting communication with extraterrestrials for an extended period. However, in 1959, scientists Philip Morrison and Giuseppe Cocconi elucidated that our transmitting devices had evolved to be potent enough to dispatch messages through space. A year later, scientist Frank Drake initiated Project Ozma, marking the inception of the first radio wave scanner for signals originating from space. Drake employed a telescope with a diameter of 26 meters for this project. Subsequently, in 1974, a span of 15 years later, the Arecibo telescope embarked on its inaugural mission to transmit radio waves to a designated location in the expansive cosmos. In this era, our comprehension of the solar system, the Milky Way, and the universe at large has significantly advanced. We've discovered that the planets in our vicinity lack the essential elements for life to thrive on their surfaces. This realization has prompted us to shift our focus to other solar systems that might harbor planets with life-supporting conditions akin to Earth. Consequently, the message dispatched by the Arecibo telescope is intended for a stellar cluster known as Messier 13. This cluster, situated on the periphery of the Milky Way galaxy, comprises a multitude of stars, potentially orbited by planets possessing life-sustaining elements. Scientists Frank Drake and Carl Sagan indeed transmitted this message. Upon receipt and conversion of this message into diagrams by extraterrestrial beings, a specific form will materialize. This form encapsulates a series of diagrams providing information about humanity, the universe, and the origin of the message. For instance, the first row in white represents the numbers 1 through 10, and the red diagram evidently depicts the human form. Adjacent to these are details about humans, such as their height and population. The yellow diagram elucidates our solar system and our home planet, Earth. Lastly, the violet diagram symbolizes the Arecibo telescope. All this, coupled with additional information like the constituents of human DNA, forms the content of the message. Scientists regard the Arecibo message as the inaugural earnest and tangible attempt to establish contact with extraterrestrials, assuming they exist. However, there's an intriguing aspect to this endeavor that warrants clarification. The scientists also postulated that these extraterrestrial beings would possess reception devices for this message, operating on technology analogous to our radio technology. Furthermore, they hypothesized that these extraterrestrials' scientific understanding would be based on binary encoding, enabling them to decipher the message. The most astonishing assumption is that if these extraterrestrial beings indeed exist and possess the intellectual capacity and technological prowess to receive, comprehend, and respond to the message, their response will reach us, God willing, in approximately 40,000 years. In 1977, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, commonly known as NASA, launched the Voyager 1 space probe in 1977. Its primary goal was to explore Jupiter and Saturn, reach the furthest possible point, and gather data. However, in addition to the onboard measuring instruments, sensors, and cameras, there was a message for space inhabitants. This message was inscribed on a copper plate coated with a layer of gold to prevent corrosion. The plate featured two sides. One side contained an auditory message from Earth's inhabitants, which could be played similarly to old gramophone records. This auditory message was a greeting to potential extraterrestrials in over 55 different Earth languages, accompanied by 90 minutes of diverse folk music. The other side of the plate displayed a series of drawings. These illustrations provided information about our solar system, Earth, and depicted lines radiating from a common center, representing the locations of 14 stars surrounding Earth. Using these star locations, extraterrestrials could potentially navigate to Earth. Additionally, 2 small circles symbolizing hydrogen atoms were drawn on the side. The plate also contained numerous other pieces of encoded information, including photographic images, graphical illustrations, and much more. However, this attempt shares a common issue with previous endeavors. It presumes that these beings are technologically advanced, utilize technology similar to ours, and possess the means to decode and comprehend the intended message. And with that, we have talked today about the strangest attempts to communicate with aliens. What would you like us to talk about in the upcoming videos? Write to us in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and share, and for those who are seeing us for the first time, subscribe and activate the bell so that our videos reach you first. See you in the next episode. Have a good night. Bye.